How does all the global news and media make you feel? Exhausted. You can be deliberately informed about the good things without having to shut out your compassion and concern for the challenges the world is facing. There are many incredible things going on. I give myself a time limit and then I force myself off my phone and read a book. Life has been better lately. It can be overwhelming at times, but staying informed is important. Like the powers that run the West US are actually destroying their own societies by destroying fiat currencies print, and open borders what sovereignty? In order to maintain global power dominance. If BRICS happens and the dollar is no longer tied to petrol, the whole power system shifts. And all the day-to-day bullshit is just to keep everyone divided and fighting without realizing what the hell is actually happening. Like everything's going to shit. Doesn't really make me feel anything. It's not like I don't care about the bad shit happening like in a jaded, calloused way, but if I can't do anything constructive with that information, if it's something on the other side of the world, and there's no change or action I can make in my life to do something about whatever's going on, I don't dwell on it. Don't give my emotions to it. There's a million positive things I can do to make the world a better place in my community and for the people I know, so I try to focus on that instead. Get off social media and take a break from the news. Knowing what's happening a continent away isn't changing the outcome. I see questions like this posed often, both online and in real life, and I don't fully understand them. Global news and media rarely makes me feel anything. If some terrible tragedy happens, I may sometimes feel sad for a time, but it is fleeting in the same way that most feelings elicited from media are fleeting. Similarly, the news may sometimes surprise or shock me, such as yesterday's video of the bridge in Baltimore collapsing, but again those feelings are relatively brief and mostly confined to the immediate reaction. Most of the time I just read or hear about a news event and acknowledge it without any particular emotional response. News is factual, and there is no point in becoming emotional over facts. Overwhelmed, mostly. It's a constant stream of info, not all good, and it's tough to process sometimes. I try to balance staying informed with taking mental health breaks. Anyone else feel like they are juggling between being well informed and staying sane? Lucky that I live where I live, and not at places those news come from. Like him walking through a crowded mall, remember those? Where every kiosk in the center is trying to sell me something. I'm bombarded with a lot of things I have no need for, disingenuous promises for products and services, and once in a while shrieked at insanely by someone I don't even understand. All I want to do is put my head down and make a mad dash for the Lego store where I can distract myself from the madness for a little while. Hopeless. The world we've built is evil, and human nature is flawed beyond measure. Sometimes, all the global news and media can make me feel a bit overwhelmed and anxious. It's like there's so much happening all at once, and it's hard to keep up with everything. But I also think it's important to stay informed and be aware of what's happening around the world. It's a balance, you know? News has become basically unwatchable in the last 8-10 years. It appeals only to the most base instincts in people nowadays, and, with certain exceptions, I feel that anyone with any intellect perspective cannot seriously watch it anymore without rolling their eyes the whole time. It is very hard to find news that is unbiased, well-researched reporting anymore. The second some random person posts something online, it is republished to the whole world and taken as truth by media outlets as long as they think it will sell. I don't think it used to be that way. There is also overfocus on or lack of attention to certain topics that is extremely annoying. It also portrays an extreme sense of doom that makes people think the world is constantly at the precipice. The Freakonomics podcast specifically tries to combat the overly negative tendency of most news things by focusing on positive and useful things. There are other podcasts that are mostly uplifting, but also informative, like How to Money. I get my news indirectly through sources like that and other people in my life who tell me if anything crazy happens. Serious question. Isn't the point of a fourth estate is to shine light on the negative in life? It's how we the people know what is going on. By journalists sticking their noses where people don't want them. It's how we're informed of corruption and deceit. I get the sentiment behind this, but it just reminds me of my mom who doesn't pay attention to things like news or gas prices. Even when gas was brought up just in passing near her, she has to say it doesn't matter cause she has to buy it anyway unless you can compare and get it cheaper somewhere else. You don't have to watch every night. But paying attention to local, national, and world events is part of being a functioning human in this society. I'm disconnected from conventional media and I'm happier than ever in that regard. Exhausting and desensitized.